Okay, it is about 8:33 p.m. and today is Wednesday, April the 7th, 2021, and welcome to week one open house of Introduction to Corrections. My name is Richard Wright, and I will be with you for the next 5.5 weeks in this class teaching you uh, things about criminal justice. And you're going to discover quickly to pay attention to not only what I say about when we get into the assignments themselves, but the modules and the rubrics. You're going to learn what I want you to do as far as the rubric itself, because there's rubrics in each assignment built already, and I'll show it to you so that you'll be able to see it and tell you what I want you to be able to do. And then tonight, I'm just generally going to talk about some things that I won't talk about during the whole quarter, because each week I'll be talking about assignments, and we should be through close to 10 o'clock. I went about 10 minutes over last night because there were some things that with this new system. Is this your first quarter here at Rasmussen, now known as Rasmussen University? You can type in the chat box, I'll see it. Oh, okay, so this is your first one. So you're new to this because of the fact that people who have been in before, we used another form of Blackboard. This is now called Blackboard Ultra. So in a way, it's good for people who've never been in it before um, to learn this, because it's totally different from what we used to do in previous quarters. For about the last, I want to say at least 2 to 3 years, we've been using Blackboard. And then this particular quarter, term one of the spring quarter, we just started to use the Blackboard Ultra. Oh, it's your second quarter. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, so then you know what I'm talking about then. Yeah, it is totally different than that. So pretty much, yeah, it's not the same. It's not even close to the same. It's totally different. It reminds me when we switched over from Angel, which you probably never heard of. But Angel was the LMS that we used before we went to Blackboard. And I liked Blackboard once I got used to it. And then I got used to it. Now they switched up on me. So they always do stuff to us like that. Okay. They say it's new and improved, but sometimes I'm from the old school. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, But I understand that we're progressive, and there's some good things in here that they say eventually will stick to us as faculty members. But just be rest assured that you as students are not the only one having growing pains with this with Ultra. It's us faculty as well, and we had extensive. You had probably orientation on it. We had several weeks of training on it, and we still didn't understand it. So, but so such as it is. So let's get going here. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So you are familiar with this. This is what they call, this is a new home page. Remember how the other one used to look. Um, this one, I thought it should have my picture on it. Let's see. Why? Yeah, it has multiple instructors in it. These are other sections, but I am your instructor. So, okay. So anyway, I want to share with you certain things. Like, for example, things that say visible to students on here. All the things that say visible to students. Well, I'm just going to kind of like show you in a few minutes here. All right. So let's look at the course content. On the course content, you can look at Get Started. And if you look at Get Started, it opens up an introduction to the course, and it tells you, the things that you're going to be expected to learn, how to be good corrections individuals. But you're going to learn that in the field of corrections, there are 4 components to corrections, and that's jails, prisons, probation, and parole. Jails is short term, generally where individuals are incarcerated or awaiting trial or incarcerated for less than a year because they committed misdemeanors. Prisons are for individuals who commit offenses that are serious enough to merit a year or more in jail, or in prison as we call it, and be incarcerated um, there. And so after you go to prison, your trial and that is over. You might still have appeals, but your initial trial is over. Probation is a basis where you uh, could go to jail, goes with jails. And if you go to jail um, and you are released from jail, then that's where probation kicks in. And you have a probation officer, and if you violate, you come before the judge and so forth. So that's where you deal with that. So in other words, most probation people start out with not going to jail, and the purpose of that is that the person fits an offense that um, keeps them from going behind bars. Okay, and then they might serve under certain conditions. They might even have home confinement. As part of it, they might have an ankle bracelet and those kind of things, GPS type thing on them. They'll have certain requirements that you have to do. For example, if you're involved with drugs, then you'll have to probably go through drug treatment and things of that nature. And then there are some opportunities to get an education. I worked with a program in Illinois that before it started out with one judge called Probation Challenge, that if you came to before this certain judge named Eugene Pencham in Illinois, that you were given the opportunity, if you had a crime that qualified you for probation, and which generally means that it was a nonviolent offense. Well, in that case, then you could go to school, get your GED, come back, and the case would be dismissed. And the theory was that education redirects crime. And I go with the philosophy that it is cheaper to educate than to incarcerate. And then parole. Now, parole means that you were in prison. And generally, when parole takes place, there is usually a period of time that you complete, and then you go before what we call a parole board, and they make the decision to release you, and you finish serving the rest of your term outside of prison. And then if you do something to violate, as you might do in probation, you could be incarcerated and to serve the rest of your time out. Or if you commit another offense, you finish your time, and then you get sentenced to the time for the crime that you commit while out on parole. So so when we talk about corrections, a lot of people start to think in terms of prison and being in behind bars, and that as a correction officer. But there's in corrections, the individuals are correction officers, jail officers, probation officers, parole officers. Those are the main characters that are involved in that. And so this course is just an introduction to it and to explain to you how the process works. That's kind of a thumbnail sketch of what the introduction is. And then here is the course syllabus, which you can take a look at this. And the syllabus tells you about the course description. But there's another one that I'm going to use that I'll skip this one. I'll skip the course syllabus. But this is a general course syllabus because there is a course syllabus that you'll see that we'll be using. The course schedule, of course, you're going to see that we have a calendar which and the announcements generally give you the schedule, but this is the layout of the courses, starting with week 1, where it tells you what's in each week's module and the assignments all the way through to week 6. Now, one of the things that you should be able to see right away, and you should know this, in week 1, what is missing from week 1 in terms of assignments that is generally in each week? What is missing? Yeah. Didn't that kind of surprise you? Didn't it surprise you? Did it surprise you? It's a Yeah, I'm sure it did because it surprised us, not me anymore because I know it. But starting next week, we will deal with discussion forum. Now, the thing I do want to tell you that I have though, when you get to discussions in week 2, and I'm kind of like giving you a tip off to it, is that in week when we do discussions, you could open up your discussions even in the middle of the week. And of course, discussion posts are initially due on Tuesday, and reply posts are due on Saturdays. You're going to look on and you're not going to see anybody else's posts because I have it set to a setting called post first. And the reason I did that is because of the fact that I have seen students that their posts, when I read them, and I look through them all pretty much. I might not read the whole thing, but I'll glean through it. And they look too similar. And I even had one student who actually brought to my attention a student who actually took their post and changed some of the language in it. Well, you can't do that here because your initial post is going to have to be submitted before you're given access to other people's posts. And then you can reply to them by that Saturday, or you can reply to them the same day. It doesn't matter. So the point of the matter is that that's a little helps maintain integrity there. Okay, because I've had students in in my other class, not this one so much yet, to say I saw the discussion, but I didn't see any discussions going on. And I said, that's because you have to post first. So, and that makes it better. That makes it better. All right. So anyway, this lays out the assignments. Okay. So that's the course schedule. That's one place. And then this is the lounge that you guys use. I don't use this. If you remember before, they had the student lounge where I posted something and then you guys read that and then you responded to it and I responded to yours. Well, they don't do that anymore because in this instance, the lounge is for communication. They kicked us professors out. That's what they did. Well, not totally, because we can look at them and see them, but it tells you a great way to converse with student. It says student to student. And so now what they did was, and I'll just kind of like jump down here and show you. Uh, no, you won't see it here. I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you in just a minute. Yeah, okay, I'll show it to you in using something else. So anyway, then down here, of course, each week, and you can click on this week, and you can see an overview again of what this week's module is all about. And it tells you a summary. It tells you what you basically saw a few minutes ago as well. And this is where you focus on. When I do lectures, pretty much, and I won't be doing that today because it's a little different, but I will show them, just kind of pass through them. And so the point of the matter is that it'll tell you about your vocabulary review. Well, but you have your written assignments here. Your written, and I don't know why they put vocabulary review in that, because it really is not. It's an activity actually that you have. But your written assignment here is components of corrections, which you already know because we talked about that. Your quiz, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. You're going to find out a little bit interesting about that. And then your live lecture. And that's the overview of it now. So now I'm going to go beyond the overview, and I'm going to go into the first written assignment. And when we open it, let me move your thing here out of the way there. It tells you your due date, tells you the module, tells you what your possible grade is, and then here is your rubric. Now, if you click on the rubric, it's going to open it up, and there it is. There it is. And so it tells you how to get your points. It's a percentage, but yeah, it tells you the percent. You get certain percentage, and then you should be aware that what you want to do is, and they switched it around. You see, this is where you want to start out with mastery. You want to satisfy all the requirements in the mastery column all the way down. All right. So to get 50% of your total grade, you want to present an exemplary explanation function of each of the 4 components with supporting details and examples. In other words, citations, because it's going to be, we're using APA. You're familiar with APA? Okay. And I'm going to show you some sources that I have for you guys to help you with that. So anyway, each week, the rubric. And so here's what I always tell my students: don't even pay attention to this, or this. You should always use this. Act as if this doesn't even exist. I wish I could take this and throw it in the trash. I wish I could, but they don't want me to do that. They don't want me to do that. And the reason why they don't want me to do it is because then if a person doesn't hit this, they need to know why they fell into a certain point, because I do a check mark in the grade book that tells you. And then I will tell you why you fell short here. Okay? So you see the difference in mastery and emerging? That's almost halfway. The whole thing, all the way down, same way. Okay? I'm going to show you something. Oh, they didn't do it. Okay, I don't even know why they put it in there then. I thought they had it, but they don't. But anyway, the point of the matter is that what I want you to do is to get 100% in each section. Read what it says to do. Exemplary description of two unique. Again, two unique elements of each of the four components. And you know the four components because I told you what they were. Name one. Name one of the four elements. Type it in the chat box. Okay. I said name one of the four elements of correction or components. Name one. You remember? You remember? You can type no, I don't remember, or type one of them. Okay. Well, I just spent a few minutes discussing, telling you the four parts of corrections. That's a component. How about prison, probation, parole, and jail? That's them. Remember, I just got through talking about that a few minutes ago? Oh, I don't know. It has to do with your end because my end is pretty static. It's pretty solid. It could be your connection on your end that you're getting that in your internet connection. Because mine, I'm looking at it, it's pretty static. I mean, it's pretty clear. Okay. But it is. So you want to follow the rubric. All right. So I'm going to come out of the rubric. Whoops. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, I got to go back. Got to go back. What happened to my? Oh, I know what I got to do. Oh, I know. I closed Firefox. That's what happened. Okay, let me reopen it. I forgot I hit the. That's one of the things I'm learning about this system. Okay, click in here and here and then here. Okay, and then I got to go back to share now. So you won't, you could now you here you'll see it. You couldn't see what I was doing a few minutes ago. So okay, so here we are. So back in week one, module one. Okay, I was showing you the components, the rubric uh, for the written assignment and the percentage. All right, and then uh, there is the scenario, and it tells you the scenario, and then it tells you the instructions. See, you see now the four components right here. You see them? Okay, and that's why I told you earlier that the whole course was going to be all about. And so, and then it tells you the same things that were in in this. Now, you're going to do this in the form of a chart or infogram, but it must be in Microsoft Word. It must be in Microsoft Word. Do not submit your papers in Word, in PDF or either PowerPoint. I need them to be in Word. That's one of the things I want to say. And so that's the assignment. So it gives that, and I've given you the rubric and the due date. Okay, so you know the due date as well. Then now you have a quiz. Now you should be aware of the quiz. Now I'm not going to click on the quiz itself, but it tells you the due date. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I forgot it does show it because it's visible to you. But anyway, the quiz, and when you click on it and you take it, you should be aware of the fact that you have 3 times. See, I don't like the way they did this, because when I click on it, it actually shows the quiz. I don't like that. But anyway, you'll have 3 opportunities. If you go back and let's see, I got to do this. I hate this, but this is what it says to do. Okay. Anyway, this just kind of shows you the question. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But a due date, you have 3 attempts. You can take it 3 times. And that's all I'm going to show you there. And I really don't like how they did this. That is not good. But anyway, that'll be a discussion we'll have faculty-wise. So your quiz, and then your live classroom recording, which will be posted here. And I'll send you an email too, which will be this one for today. Right now, it just tells you the time that we have the lecture and the link, which, by the way, I'm gonna have to, even though now it probably doesn't matter for me to do this, but oh, it tells me I can edit it, and then I can put this in here. And then I'm supposed to be able to, no, that's not it. Well, anyway, that's it right here. That's the link. So, but when you go back and get the recording, after this, I'm going to take this out and then I'm going to replace it with the actual recording link. That's where you're going to find it. That's just how it is. That's how the new thing is. We erase this and replace it with the link. And our mine is going to say a YouTube, and you'll see, and it'll be a link you can click on. All right, and of course, that is also due on Saturday. Well, it tells you when it says live classroom recording, it tells you it's due on Sunday, and it tells you how to get the points, and it tells you, you click on it, and then you put the key phrase in, and then it'll show up to me, and I'll grade it. So it says this week your instructor will conduct a live lecture, which I'm doing, and the calendar tells you how, and the announcements, and course mail that I sent out. Okay, and then how to log into the virtual classroom. So you already have that. Well, after that, then you're going to have the recorded. It might sound confusing, but after a while, it will not be. And then here are the various topics of discussion where we talk about transferable skills. It should show up. There we go. And then it tells you, you know, um, click any button below to view. Nope, that's not right. I guess next is what we hit. Select the topic. Okay, so we go to transferable skills. And then it tells you what the transferable skills are. One, I guess after that. Anyway, this is not good how they're doing this. But anyway, we'll have some discussions about that too. So anyway, we're going to talk about transferable skills anyway. The four components, which it breaks down and explains that I just talked about, and it gives you more details. Jails, prisons, probation, parole, and it explains sentencing and so forth. And this is from your textbook. By the way, when you do your assignments, try not to rely solely on your textbook because we want you to do research as well. So this gives you an understanding of this. So if we were doing a lecture, I would break it down. And then I would do each of these. And it will load to it. And it starts telling you about jails and prisons. Now let us check what you remember. You provide a series of questions. And so what this does is it helps you to recall. Read the question and type your answer. Prisons operating at a federal and state level can be blank run, and you type your answer there and then you submit it. So this is something to help you to prepare for your quiz, by the way. Same thing here, dealing with probation and parole. So you do the same thing here, knowledge check. Read the question, type your answer, and then click, so you can type your answer there. Blank process rights apply to the revocation process. Oops. Hit submit. This is going to be right because that's the answer. Yeah, so the answer is due. And then you continue. The parole board has blank in the revocation process. So you'll go over that too as well. So it helps you to get ready. So this is something to help you. This is different from what we had before. Then the evolution of corrections. Here we go. A lot of things to help you here to prepare. Select a topic to learn more. The evolution of corrections. So you can get to the introduction. And here it is. Right here. And then you go next. And then the timeliness. And then you click on each of these to learn more about the periods of how corrections, and then go over each tab and it tells you, okay, and this explains. These are things that will help you study. These are study tools. I'm just bringing them to your attention that they're there. Okay, we won't be using them a whole lot. We'll use them a little bit. And then finally, this is really important. your vocabulary review. So these are words and that will end up on the test. I can just tell you that. That's all I can tell you. So it's a non-graded activity to improve your understanding of the vocabulary and prepare you for the test. That's what I was telling you. All those do, but this really goes right to the heart. Okay, so you can begin just to show you. Which of the following describe the term corrections? Programs, services, facilities, and organizations responsible for the management of individuals who have been accused or convicted of criminal offenses. Uh, the law of retaliation, the principle that punishment should correspond in a degree to that and kind of offense. Actions and practices of individuals and institutions designed to induce conformity with the rules and norms of society. So, which one off the top of your head do you think describes? And you might not know it because you might not have done the reading and studying. The first one, you think? Okay, let's see. See if you're right. But I don't know. You got it. That means you did some studying. The answer is yes. The programs, services, facilities, and organizations responsible for the management of individuals who have been accused or convicted. Because accused is those awaiting trial in jail, and those convicted are those who've been found guilty. Very good. And the types of programs that are utilized, like drug education um, and other types of things. Very good. So that helps you. Which of the following describes the term lex talionis? A little Latin. That's dirty. Oh, which one? Okay, you did well. Okay, that is absolutely. It does. It has to do with retaliation. The principle that punishment should correspond to degree and kind of offense. So basically, the time that you serve should be commensurate with the crime that you committed. That kind of thing. So those are the kinds of things that you know that will help you to go through and practice those. So that's for this week. Okay. Now, now that I've kind of like gone, and each week we'll be discussing those, and we'll reserve this until next week. Any question about any of the things that from week one that I have covered? Okay, you can always go back and you can look at those things. Now, like I said, I showed you. All right, now here's what I want to go to next. I want to show you some things that at the top here, the course content, we kind of, that's where we are right here. So you see it's called course content. This one here is the calendar. Very important. Pay attention to the calendar. And I like the month view. If you notice the little dot, see the dot under there? It tells you that there are things that are due. There should be something under the 10th. I don't know why it's not. Should be. I have to find out why not, because, okay, Monday, course begins. This is your lecture. If you come down here, there it is, your live lecture open house. Now I want to look at the month version. Something's wrong. When I set this up, oh my God. Okay, your initial posts are due. Why does it not show the due date for the 10th because, oh, duh. Okay, slap yourself, Professor. You know why there's nothing for the 10th? Because there's no discussion post. That's right. Duh. Okay, my bad. So anyway, if you can see that, so let's going back for this week. You have your live lecture, and then you have your written assignments where your live lecture is due that day, your quiz, and your written assignment. Okay. Then starting next week, Tuesday and Saturday. Okay. Man, you should have seen me doing this Saturday, Sunday. I waited till Sunday because I had a lot of personal things going on during the break from the quarter ended in March and dealing with some serious things. Man, I was up till 3 in the morning, Monday morning. Oh my God. So it was, and there was only 2 classes, but anyway, learning a new system. Okay. So anyway, so yeah, so your course calendar tells you everything that you need to know in terms of assignments, when the course began. Let's go back to the month view. Okay, so now if you go back to the day view again, let's go to the next week just to show you. You should see dots on Sunday. That's your assignments for Sunday, the 11th, that I just told you a minute ago. And here they are, just in case you really want to know. You scroll down, and there they are. Your live classroom lecture due, your quiz, and your written assignment. Then the 13th, that's when your initial post is due. And then your next lecture will be 8:30 to 9:30 next week. And then Sunday, Saturday, then you go down here and you're going to see. And then it tells you here, if you notice, see it says 1 item due. If you're over here, see it says 3 items due. And then you can click, and then it tells you what those 3 things are that are due for that day. That is so neat, isn't it? When you learn how to use this calendar real well, it keeps you on post. All right. Now, that's our calendar. But I like to show my students a reminder of what happens, how quickly this goes. The course ends May the 11th. May the 11th. May the 11th, okay? And then our last live lecture will take place on the 5th, okay? So we'll be discussing what goes in week 5 and week 6 as well. So I'm just showing you that nothing after the 11th can be accepted. The term actually ends because the next day, the 12th, term 2 starts for students. All right. Any questions about the calendar? Okay, so you know where to find it. You have it up at the top like I'm pointing to. Am I right? Okay. Now, here we go with discussions. Let's click on that. And it brings up the lounge, which I was telling you earlier, that's for you guys. And notice what it says, the welcome to the lounge, student to student collaborative space where you can discuss hobbies, interests, so forth. A great way to get a conversation started, introduce yourself to everyone. Now, in past, we would do this. Okay, but then each of your discussions are under that. But then at the very bottom is this thing called course chat. Now notice what it says. This is the thing I don't like is welcome to course chat. a space designed for you to collaborate and communicate with your faculty member and your class. And your class. So to get started, your faculty member has posted an introduction about themselves. And if you take time to go to it, you will see it. And nobody has responded to me yet. Here it is. And it tells you about me, tells you about me, that that's my family and me, part of my family anyway. My older kids are older than these, everybody in this picture. That's my wife. Um, that's Richard Jr. He'll be 26. That's Julia Alexa. She's 21. Julian Alexander, who's 20. He'll be 21 soon. They catch up. Their birthdays overlap. And then there's Jillian Richey, who is now actually much bigger than that. This is an older picture. She is going to be 13, April 15th. And then this tells you a little bit about me. And this is my great day when I received my law degree in 1978, before all of my students were born. And that's a young Richard Wright, receiving it from Dean David Reuter, who just passed recently. This guy was the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission and tried to hire all of us to work for the Securities and Exchange Commission, but a lot of us went in private practice like I did. And then this is a little mnemonic that I tell students about how to be successful using the word lawyers and then the elements next to this. I've used this in public speaking many times. And it tells you how you can reach me. And there's my personal email as well included, my cell phone, and my office number, which you will hardly use because I'm hardly ever there. Most of the time you'll use my cell phone number. So that's the course chat that's at the bottom there. So you should, um, you know, respond to me as well as your students. But it used to be easier because now if you go in here in the lounge, I'm sure I'll see that, see, look at all those responses, you know, people introducing themselves. Oh, there's somebody named Alexis McLean. I know that name. Oh, wait a minute. Is that you? Are you also Martin? Or is that another Alex? Oh, that's another. That's an Alexis. Remember I said, I told you some of these names. Okay. I don't know if, let's see. And it tells you, oh, you haven't said anything yet. So these are people who haven't said anything yet, posted on there. But you should get on here to introduce yourself to your classmates. So, but I see how that Alexis can get so confused. And so this student is studying criminal justice. Um, I know this student. I know this. That's why I thought you were in one of my classes before, because it's kind of a variation. Alexis, Alexi, and then it starts with the M there. So yeah, that's how I knew it was somehow I was getting this mixed up. Okay. This I had, and he tells you that he was in one of my criminal law classes, so he's in this class. Um, Glad to have you guys, my classmate, and he tells about me. Yay! Hey, I guess he liked me. So, okay, he's also one of my friends on Facebook, which, by the way, speaking of that, if any students want to become connected with me on Facebook, you go to Richard Wright JD. Richard Wright JD, and you'll find me, and I connect and share a lot of things with my students. So anyway, that's with the chat thing there. I'm not going over this. This is the grade book. Uh, this is how we go with messages. Now, when I send messages to people and it tells me who has sent messages to me, okay, and then it tells me the different things, and then I send out messages to everybody as well. So that, and then you hit that plus and you can send me a message. So if you need to send me a message, okay. Any questions about any of these things at the top? Okay, they're kind of self-explanatory. All right, now let's get to announcements. Well, first I want to, before I do announcements, I want to do uh, uh, course tools. Um, and it tells you those things here need help. You can't get those, I can. Resources. Resources is where you can find information that relate to various issues, such as APA, Paralegal Blue Book. You know a little something about that, don't you? Am I right, Alexi? You know something about that. Okay. And Grammarly, all papers are run through Grammarly to check. And then a writing guide. And these are different things. And then there's a video on academic integrity, which we're going to go over in just a few minutes. And then this tells you how to make an appointment with a librarian. Your criminal justice librarian is the same one you've had all the time, Dennis Johnson. You knew that though already, didn't you? From the paralegal program. Because paralegal program is headed by Shauna Freilich. Do you know that name? Do you know Shauna? She is the chair for the paralegal program. I thought she was teaching some classes. Maybe not, because the chair may keep her so busy. She used to teach, but she took the chair. I've been asked to take a chair in criminal justice. I said no. As a matter of fact, the department chair just retired, and they all people pointed their fingers at me, and I said, I like teaching. Leave me in the classroom. All right. So anyway, that's resources. Going back to the tools, just showing you some things that are here that students may not know about. And then tutoring, of course, if you need that, you can click on that as well to set up your tutoring. Um, and it tells you um, that's how I can create the task. What I want, if I see somebody is having trouble, I could send them to get some help. All right. So that's mine. I thought that, let's see, let's go back to, get me out of here. I want to get out of there. Okay. Let me just go back to home. It'll make me start all over. That's what I hate about this system. Okay, then I got to go back, log back in. All right. All right. Okay, so now go back to tools. Okay. So syllabus is where I'm going to go next. Now, if you um, have trouble finding your book, by the way, have you found your textbook? Okay, you need to uh, check because there is a textbook. You got the PowerPoints that I sent you? Okay. Um, I thought that was in here where you could find your text. Give me a minute, because a student asked me about that. I thought this was, unless it's, might be course materials. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Click this. Okay, and then um, it tells you, to say, and there's your textbook. There it is. And then there's ways to navigate and stuff like that. Okay, now you got it? Okay, fantastic. So that's why I'm going through today to try to help students. I won't be doing this, of course, every week. All right. So now let me get back into, let me close that out. Okay, so now let's go to the syllabus. Okay, now this is the syllabus. And in the syllabus, it tells you the name of the course. Move that there. The name of the course. And it tells you my name. And this tells you my office hours. These are my office hours. This is how you can reach me. You can feel free to call me, text me, or email me any hour of the day, except the 25th hour. Now, students who know me, they know what that means. It means you can reach out to me anytime you need me. But if you call me, it'll land up on my cell phone. If you text me, it'll end up on my cell phone. But please, when you text me, include your name, because the phone number will show, but I won't know who you are and what your issue is. I've already got some texts from students already. Doesn't matter what hour of the day you do it. You can do it anytime, 24/7. Even on Sundays, I am a pastor of a church, so I'll do it, maybe respond back to you pretty fast before. I'm not going to respond to you while I'm at church in the pulpit, something like that, but I'll respond after church, before church, and those kind of things. And my phone goes everywhere with me. And so if you have an issue, I recommend you text me, which we're going to talk about in just a few minutes, to let me know what's going on with you, if there's an issue or something. Email is kind of okay, but I get texts easier. And then sometimes with text, I'll hit that little phone thing on the text on my messages, because I don't use Messenger in Facebook, even though I use Facebook. But I will respond back sometimes in texting, but I like to call and talk to my students. And I get a chance to talk to a lot of my students that way. Okay. And that's the number. That's the email address. And then this is a reminder of what I said kind of earlier. You're required to conduct research for all papers. That means the sole source of your papers cannot be the textbook. You will lose 2 points for failure to conduct research. So even when your written assignment this week, you can use your textbook, but try to use other sources too. The library and learning center resources are valuable. You know about them, don't you? Yeah. In the paralegal program, they're pretty strong on that. And Kurt is really good about uh, sharing that and with students all the time. Very good. And then make sure that you have citations in the body and references at the end. There are students who believe that it's citations or references. It is not. APA is, and you're very familiar with APA. I know you are familiar with APA. I know you are. And I also know that you're one of the students who, even though in this class you don't use it so much, you know how to properly cite a case, don't you? Because you know, you've written briefs, haven't you? Okay. I'm messing with you because I already know. In my constitutional law class, there are students who are still learning how to do that. When if you ever take that constitutional law class, you'll say, "Oh, yeah, that's that's easy to do." You know, sure, it's easy for you to say. It was easy for me to say too. When I was in law school, it was easy because before I went to law school, I worked in a big law firm. You'll hear that in my story, which, by the way, I'm going to send you a copy of my story about adversity as a springboard to success. I'll send that and I'll post that announcement tonight as well and send an email to you guys about an hour long um, story about yours truly about adversity, which we'll get into in a minute. So anyway, make sure that you understand that citations and references, all right? And then this tells you again the name of the textbook, which you now know where to find. Okay. All right. So your discussion posts, you're familiar with that. They should be detailed, not yes or no, and that you know the due dates because we already talked about that. So I can get that out of the way. Now, oh, one thing I did want to tell you about discussion posts. I guess I'll save that to next week. I'll save it for next week. All right. So anyway, the requirements are you have readings that you're told in the module. We don't have any way of knowing whether or not you're doing the readings or not, except to be honest with you, it will show up in your coursework and it'll show up in the grades that you get when you take the exams. Your discussion assignments, your written assignments, and you want to make sure you follow, and I gave you the calendar on that, and the quizzes, and there'll be 6 quizzes throughout the course. Each quiz will contain multiple choice and true false questions, of which you'll have 3 opportunities to take the test. Okay. By the way, when you take those tests, you should be aware that it's closed book. You're not supposed to have notes and all of that stuff. And then the live classrooms, we already talked about that. So now I'm showing you the breakdown of grades in the course. Discussions constitute 150 points. Assignments, 280. Quizzes, 168. And then your live lectures are 30 points for a total of 628. Now, I'm going to tell you this now. My goal is to honor roll, which is A's. I'm sorry, Dean's List, which is A's, and honor roll, which is B to B minus. I work in these areas with students. I work hard to try to help you be a, it sounds bad to say it this way, to be a A, B student, okay, to get your A's and B's. Do not ever text me, call me, email me any hour of the day, and even the 25th hour, to ask me, Professor Wright, how do I get a C in your class? I'm going to act like you're speaking a language that I don't understand because I don't work to help you to get a C. That's something that a student can do all by themselves. And that's what I tell you. Excuse me a minute here. I had to brush my throat here. But anyway, don't ask me how to get a C. And certainly I know you're not going to ask me how to get a D. And you don't even have to ask me how to get an F either. You know how to get an F, just don't do the work. Or anyway. So I'm an A, B student person. And the reason why I am that, and I stress it to my students, is that the cream of the crop are the ones that get hired. And that's my goal. I write recommendation letters. I talk to employers for my former students to help them. But I'm tough, as was Kirk Olson. But we're not tough in terms of difficult. We're tough in terms of preparing you for excellence. That's our goal, is to prepare you for excellence. That's how we got to where we were. Yes, he's a graduate of the University of Minnesota, and I'm a graduate of Northwestern University School of Law in Illinois. So, what state are you? Where are you, Alexi? What state are you in? Where are you? Oh, okay. So you're in the great state of Minnesota. Okay. All right. Then, are you near Minneapolis? Okay. Is your area still considered as Hennepin County, or you're outside Hennepin? Okay. All right. But so I'm keeping my eye, I'm studying as I talk to my students about ethics, professionality, and education in law enforcement and all aspects of criminal justice so that you can uh, stay out of trouble, so you don't find yourself losing your job, going to jail, those kind of things. I've been paying close attention to what's happening in the Chauvin case. And I teach my students as well as those who want to be law enforcement that they work in our school. We have the law enforcement program and teach students how to stay out of those situations in the courtroom unless they're testifying and not being a defendant, those kind of things. So, but that's another course. I used to teach ethics and criminal justice, and I used to love to teach that. You'll hear me say it over and over. I teach from three perspectives: educated, ethical, and professional. Those are the three tiers that I want my students to achieve. And if you achieve those, you'll be successful. We have an accommodations requirement that we must all include in here, and that's because of the Aid to Disabilities Act, where if you have issues and you need accommodations, go to your uh, accommodations director, as it's called, accommodations coordinator, which also in most cases that I'm aware of happen to be your academic dean at the campus. Which campus are you affiliated with, Alexi? Mankato. Okay, yeah. Who's your academic dean there? Do you remember? I don't remember who the academic dean of Mankato is. Who is it? Uh, yeah. Okay. In a way, that's kind of good because most of the students that know academic deans is because they had some struggles, or you might know the academic dean if you receive your academic awards and went to the ceremonies. Okay. And then you'd get to know your academic deans upon graduating as well. So now, with this, with the virtual thing, I'll be so glad when we start to get back to the actual graduations. That's always been a highlight for us. But anyway, accommodations usually are handled by your campus academic dean. So now let's spend a few minutes talking about transferable skills. Employers have let us know that they want students to be proficient in the following categories. And if you've looked at or followed the Chauvin case, you've seen how important the first one is: communication, both written and oral, because of exhibits that are produced in court, which consists of police reports and medical reports and all kinds of things that lend to help the person to demonstrate the professionality to the trier of fact. As a defense attorney, I used times when people made minor errors and use that to make them look bad in court. But that's my job as defense attorney when I used to do that. But communication, you're going to communicate with people from all backgrounds. One of the most popular languages other than English is Spanish. But then there are other languages now that are cropping up in the country. The point of the matter is that we need to be able to communicate with people from various backgrounds. Critical thinking, that's another issue. I'm a natural critical thinker because, being a lawyer, in law school we learned what we call the Socratic method. And the way that we did it was by being asked a series of questions until it opened and turned on a light bulb in the head to come up with the answer. I don't spoon feed my students. I try to get my students to come up with the answers themselves by maybe even giving clues or things like that. But in your written assignments, critical thinking is very important. For example, if you have to do an essay, which most of your assignments will be, some form of essay, your critical thinking will be analyzed based upon how your thoughts, and it'll also show up in your discussion posts, by the way, your analysis of the facts of the issues and responding to them. Well, that question has come up 3 times so far that I saw in the Chauvin case, that police officers really had to be really good at critical thinking. So we prepare you for that. In fact, there is a critical thinking course that you take before you leave this school, and it helps you to understand critical thinking as well. Digital fluency. Everything's digital, like how to find your textbook, how to navigate the ultra blackboard, which we're all learning. The fact that almost everybody has one of these things that now has cameras on it, as we now know. That's one of the big exhibits in the Chauvin case and in many other law enforcement type cases. But it's important that we're in that era. When I came out of law school in 1978, there was no such thing, but it's now normal. I have to teach online classes, not just residentially. When I was first hired at Rasmussen in 2011, they brought me in to teach business law, but I told them I was a criminal justice person first, and then I was moved into the criminal justice department. But they use me sometimes in business as well, because I enjoy teaching business law and business ethics when I'm given the opportunity. Anything with ethics, I believe in teaching. Diversity, 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 and teamwork. We deal with people from various backgrounds, various cultures, various beliefs, various sexual preferences, various cultures who celebrate holidays even different. Like some people were offended religious wise from Easter to Resurrection Sunday. Didn't matter to me. They both, I know which one that I operate under, but I'm not going to shoot somebody else down and those kinds of things. But that's not a dogmatic issue. But diversity is something that our country is made of. We're a melting pot. I am excited about the fact that, I say this, that the cabinet of the current president is a diverse cabinet that has women, men, have individuals who are LGBT, has individuals from all walks of life, conservative, liberal. I love it. And I think that's what our country operates best under. That's how we live our lives. And so diversity. I am involved in what's called the Diversity and Inclusion Committee or panel at the school here. I'm a member of that, and so I'm very active in that. Teamwork. You're going to work with individuals on teams um, throughout your career, and I kind of can show you that if you're in law enforcement, you're going to work with detectives, you're going to work with forensic people, you're going to work with lawyers on both sides, you're going to work with judges, you're going to work with psychologists, you're going to work with, dare I say, paralegals. By the way, um, I was a paralegal once. And when I was a paralegal, there was no such thing as paralegals. When I worked in this law firm, I taught myself how to do legal research manually before they had the LexisNexis and all those wonderful Westlaw and all those other systems. I did it manually, um, but in the 70s. And so when I went to law school, I had to take legal writing. And one of the things we had to do was learn how to use write briefs and memos. Well, I was already doing that. So I taught myself how to be that. Then they came up with educational uh, opportunities where certificates and degrees were actually, um, as you know well about, Alexi, um, through the program at our school here. But there are schools all over the country, I should say even the world now, where paralegals have become very valuable. I always used to tell people that secretaries were the most important people to lawyers, and I knew that when I had it because we didn't really have the law firm I had was a small firm. And then later on, I hired a paralegal. But paralegals are excellent because they know how to research, they know how to write memos and briefs and things like that. So they're not lawyers, but very extremely important now. I don't think a law practice now pretty much can operate without one. Or and then a lot of corporations have paralegals to work with in-house counsel as well. So anyway, those are just some of the parties that we work with in teams. Ethics and professional responsibility. Well, I kind of commented about that. Uh, Ethics is the beginning, the middle, and the end of how you should deal with everything. And you're taught that as a kid, but it's important for you to understand ethics. Uh, I was sharing with a student that um, asked me the question, how could you tell if we are not in class that we are not using materials that we're not supposed to take quizzes and tests? I said, it'll tail off on you. I guarantee you. To give you an example of what I'm talking about, I had students who took a fill-in, information test, and the answers that they provided in some of the written assignments, they copied and pasted them. I have to laugh. Yeah, that's why I agree. And it happened. It happened in constitutional law. That was a class. And these were students who were on their way to getting bachelor's degrees. And I had to pull them aside and say, hey, you just tipped your hand. This could get you put out of school. It could mess you up really bad. But here's what I say. If you're an unethical student, you could become an unethical professional and you could find yourself in the wrong side, on the wrong side of the law. You know. So It's problematic. It's problematic. I think that listening to the testimony of the experts and listening to the testimony of the leadership and the training people, that there is something missing from the training of what, and I'm not um, uh, finding the man guilty because he's innocent until proven guilty, but looks pretty tough. But the point of the matter is that you, even if, okay, you get fired, okay, they got fired. All four of those police officers got fired right away, even before they had a trial, because it was quite clear that they violated some of the things. And the chief said that their ethics were not good. So I'm saying all that to say, I don't want to turn on the TV and see one of my former students. Okay. Um, I want you to hear me in class and operate it. I hope you hear from your parents at first about it. Me being a pastor, I guess it kind of is bred in me too. But anyway, from a little kid, I was taught ethical principles. Professional responsibility, almost every profession has a code of conduct. Paralegals have a code of conduct, don't they? I know. I was asking you to tell me because I know you know that. But every area, whether you're law enforcement, probation, parole, a corrections officer, any of those things, you're still going to be subjected to professional responsibility. We lawyers, we have one canon that says we should not even give the appearance of impropriety. I mean, it doesn't even have to be improper, but even just the appearance can get you in hot water. So the key thing is your profession that you work in, that you're seeking to become in the future in criminal justice. You're going to have a code of professional responsibility to deal with. And the last one is information literacy. I'm sure you guys know all about that because of the fact that there are sources that are not acceptable. The number one offender of sources that we professors talk about all the time, that if you use it, you will get dinged in a grade. Do you know what that is? You can type it in. As a source. Yep, survey says, bing, you'd hit number one. That's it. Wikipedia. It is no good. Now, people say to me, oh, it has some good information. I said, let me explain something to you, good people. If a source is a word-based web page, which is what that is, you can go in and you can change anything around in there any way you want to. And that's the problem with it. So we don't use that. And then also you want to be careful about sources that you use. You know, consider the source of some of the sources that you find, but credible sources. That's why we say credible. We try to find them as objective as possible, but we know that sources are going to present their positions. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So information literacy, one of the main ways of protecting yourself in that area here at this school is use the library and learning center. Um, use Google very sparingly. I said sparingly. There's some dangerous stuff out there on Google that's extremely opinionated and not based on fact. And so you have to be very, 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 very careful about utilizing some of the sources out there. So information literacy is one of the tools. And so you'll have a chance to develop skills in that as a student matriculating here at Rasmussen. We've got a couple more minutes, but I'm going to bear with me for a few more minutes. while I go over this, because there's some things I want to make sure that you get. Um, Late assignment policy. Every day that you're late with an assignment, you know what the due date is. You lose 10% of the grade. And it says you can go up to 7 days. Think about that, though. Let me take you to a hypothetical. You turn in a paper on Sunday. It's excellent, so you get 100. You turn in that same paper on Tuesday, on Monday. It's 90. You turn that same paper on Tuesday. It's 80. You turn that same paper in on Wednesday. It's 70. You turn it in on Thursday, it's a D. And if you turn in on Friday, it's a 50, and that's an F. So it's kind of a misnomer. Yes, we will accept the assigned work up to 7 days. Okay. It says here that in some cases, such as discussion postings, students may be asked to complete an alternate assignment. Don't do that here. We don't do that. I'm not doing that. I always tell my students, and I have one student to go back to the dean and says, Professor Wright doesn't do that. He says, well, that's okay. That's what you have to deal with, okay? People have to learn to follow the rules of who they're under. That's why if you're working for company A, company B might do it differently. You don't work for company A or company B, you work for whatever one you work for. You get my point. Online discussions conclude at the end of the week. Therefore, that means Saturday night, 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, till we get to week 6, it's a little different. But let's say you get your discussion posts in, both of them on Saturday. You will lose a point in my class every day from Tuesday all the way up to Saturday. Then your second post, if it's good, you'll get all your points. However, if you submit your, listen to me carefully, your reply post, this is my special concession to my students. If you submit your reply post Sunday and you have completed at least one post by Saturday, I will give you credit for that Sunday post and take away a point if it's a quality. That's what I call, in golf terms, a mulligan, giving people an extra thing. And I've done it. Nobody's tried to stop me because that's just how I've been doing it. That's my own little feature. You can't go to other class and say, Professor Wright, it's not, that's my own, that's the right way. I mean it's WRIGHT way. And so that's the way that works. I do encourage more than one post to be replied to because it's good, but at least make sure you do the one. If the form ends, I've had students submit excellent posts on Sunday, both initial and reply, and they get a big fat 0. All right. So now, when we talk about this next thing, I read it. It says, instructors may waive the late penalty or time frame in the case of extenuating circumstances as determined by the faculty. It starts out with telling you who is in charge. That's me. And it tells you at the end who is in charge. The faculty. That's not the faculty committee. That's not the dean. That's not your advisors. It's not even the president of the school. It is me in this class. Extenuating circumstances are determined on a case-by-case basis. In my class, there's no reason why a student can't let me know as soon as they know something's going on, because of my policy of you can text me, email me, call me any hour of the day except the 25th hour of the day. Now, if you do it the 25th hour of the day, then all bets are off. But I haven't met anybody that's been able to get to the 25th hour of the day. But so if you're going to try to figure that one out, then you need to start back over and go back to grammar school and find out how many hours in a day. So extenuating circumstances, let me know. I've had some pretty treacherous ones, and I've had quite a few that it increased with COVID. And COVID's not over. We're having some issues, but the point of the matter is we're still working through it. So I work with students in terms of that. Don't tell me I'll send you a copy of the obituary. I'll send you a copy of my medical stuff or a note from my doctor. You're adults. I am not doing that. I don't want your stuff like that. That's your own private stuff. I believe you because remember what I said about the ethical stuff. It'll come back and get you. So the truth of the matter is that I'm very liberal when it comes to dealing with that issue. And so that's all I need to say about that. Then there's an incomplete grade policy that you can follow up yourself, get to that point. And then there's the academic integrity policy, which I tell students to make sure they read on their own. And that's the syllabus. That's why I mentioned earlier that other syllabus. Okay, I think I've covered everything except one thing I want to go over. The announcements. I think I covered, let me check out in my mind. I did. Okay. Okay, let's go over the announcements very briefly. You start out with a welcome announcement. And if you go to announcements, like I did, tells you on the left side. Remember on course content, used to show right up, but now you have to click on it. So right now I have 6 that are in here, and pretty soon, in a minute, I'm going to have 7 because I'm going to put that adversity to springboard success in there. So your welcome announcement, which you clicked on it and you saw that earlier, and it told you all about the things that you should do. And it talks about the lounge, course mail, which we talked about, the syllabus, and the calendar are important things. Check the announcements each time you log in. And then it tells you a little bit about your schedule for lectures. Okay, and it lays that out as well. Okay. Then, oh, by the way, when we went back to the emails, you saw a welcome email from me, and then you received your PowerPoints in the emails that I sent out to you. Okay, so then this is your rubric for this, and then if you click on grid view, then is this the one I think? Yeah, and it shows then uh, the grid view that I showed you earlier. Notice that in this case, it's the other way around, but it's the same thing. They just flipped it. They had emergent at the end. But mastery is the column that I always want you to pay attention to. And that's for the very same assignment that you did a few minutes ago. And that's in the announcement, okay? So that's the rubric in detail there. Okay, let's close that down. Okay, let's go back. And then before we do week 1 announcement, there's the writing process, which I have for you to help you out. And it tells you the steps in the writing process, which you also can get under resources. APA, which gives guides, but excuse me, if you click on this, it tells you what you need to know. There it is right there. Click on that, and it's going to open up. Let's see. Okay, what's going on here? Should be opening up. Oh, I know what happened. What did? Oh, I see what happened. Okay, that's the top part. Okay. The bottom part here is where let's get that out of there. Trying to close that. Close tab. Okay, so now that leaves that. Okay, so that's the APA, and it gives you some information there in terms of that also. Okay, so that's what this is. That's also on my announcements. That stays there. And then the academic integrity video, which I want to take a few minutes. I'm going to share this with you. I want you to hear this. And I'm going to take off my headset. And then I'm going to put this in another window. And I told you, so we're going to listen to it. I'm going to take this off. It's about 4 minutes.
What is academic integrity? Academic integrity is making decisions in your academic life that are based on honesty, trust, fairness, responsibility, and respect. This means being honest in the work you do, while respecting the work that others do. So what is cheating? Cheating means distributing or receiving answers or information by any means other than those expressly permitted by an assignment's requirements or an instructor. Some examples of cheating include asking fellow students for answers or copying answers during a test, using notes, devices, or materials during the test that your instructor has not approved, purchasing papers from websites or other sources, copying your classmates' work, assisting a classmate in misconduct, and other violations as noted in the academic integrity policy that can be found in all course syllabi. Always ask your professor if it's okay to use notes during a test or to work together with classmates on an assignment or quiz. Now let's talk about plagiarism. Plagiarism means using another individual's work without giving them credit or taking another person's work and claiming it as your work. Some examples of plagiarism are turning in an assignment that someone else wrote, copying words or ideas from someone else. This can be a library resource, course textbook, internet resource, or other material without giving the original creator credit. Failing to put quoted works in quotation marks, or using someone else's ideas in your essays, but changing a few of the words to make it sound like the words are your own. Plagiarism is not just about written words and ideas. It's possible to plagiarize images, graphs, coding, or video as well. So how can you avoid plagiarism? Cite your sources, both in the body of your paper as in-text citations and on your references page. Whenever you want to use words, images, media, or ideas that were created by another person, you should cite that person appropriately as the source of that information.
But how does academic integrity relate to the work world? Isn't it just a college thing?
No. Integrity in the workplace starts with good practices and skills built while you are a student. Would you turn in a project document to your manager as your own when someone else wrote it? Not if you want to keep your job. Individuals can be reprimanded or even fired from their job for plagiarism. Following academic integrity guidelines while you are in school builds those skills and ethical practices that carry through to the workforce.
Okay, I understand how they're connected, but what do I do if I need more help?
If you have questions on the academic integrity policy, consult your course syllabus, talk with your instructor or dean, and if you need assistance with APA citation style or how to avoid plagiarism, contact the Rasmussen library team through our live chat or schedule a research appointment on our library website or through the resources tab of your course. If you would like APA tutoring, schedule an appointment with one of our peer tutors on the course resources tab.
Okay, so that gentleman is Dean John Mladic. I don't know if you know him or not. He's in Rockford, but he was the dean at the Romeoville campus at one point. And now he's the head of the Learning Center program. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to go over with you, and then we'll be done, is the week one announcement. Let me move you down there. So corrections in American history and theory, and you're going to read chapters 1, 2, and 3 of the book, and then you have the PowerPoints. Did you get the PowerPoints that I sent you for chapters 1, 2, and 3? Okay, great. I don't use those. A lot of people think I'm going to use them in the lectures. I don't. Those are to help you to study. Complete the activities, transferable skills. We went over that for components, jails and prison, and we went over each of these there. And then, you know, I talked about when the lecture will take place. And then I forgot to strike out one of them, that beginning October 14th, every Wednesday. Actually, it's next Wednesday, the 14th. I made a mistake, and then when I do my editing, I can correct that. So every Wednesday, and then it gives a link. And then it tells you that there is no discussion assignment this week. In week 2, finally, complete the quiz and written assignment components of corrections, and all assignments are due 11:59 p.m. Sunday. That reminds you again what's in the calendar as well. And then it tells you about the first lecture, which we're doing right now. And then my statement in every week's announcement is let's start strong and let's finish strong. And then you'll learn that my motto, adversity is a springboard to success. Again, I will be sending you um, the details on that. It's a little story that it's a tearjerker, but it tells you about me, and it helps you to understand why I'm very empathetic when it comes to my students. And so I will be posting that announcement um, as soon as I'm actually done here. Um, let's see. Let's see. Did I? No, I didn't do that. Oh, okay. Here we go. I'll show you something that you can't do, but I can do. This is just a little secret of ours, but you can't do it anyway. So I can take my little pencil and I can fix and turn this. Whoops, didn't do that. Okay. All right. So now it's okay. So it's a draft. So now I post it. And so now if you go back, now it should. Yep. See, so that's a little secret that we professors have for how we can correct stuff. You can't, so don't even try it. Okay, again, I will be posting the next announcement in just a few minutes. Um, and then I'll be sending you an email about it too. All right, it's about 10:19. I've kept you a little longer than I wanted, but I had to go over some things to make sure that you got. I hope that that extra has helped you, especially helping you find that textbook. Do you have any questions for me about anything? Okay. You don't have nothing to ask me? It's a trick question. How about the key phrase or word? Get used to that with me. A lot of times I let my students guess what they think it is. Um, and I'll let you guess. See if you can get it. Really? Your last two classes didn't do that? Wow, I'm surprised. We all have live lectures. We're supposed to do that. At least that's what we were told. So, you have any suggestions for a key word or phrase? How about corrections? Pretty easy. So give me that in your drop down, which, by the way, again, just to take you back to show you where you do that is you go back to module one and you come down to not recording but live classroom, and then you can the question. So then you enter, your in the drop down box your answer. Okay. And then you put that in answer and then it'll show up. You know about that, right? How you submit your assignments in the drop down box. Okay, same thing here. All right, but that's where it is. Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay, none. I will say, okay. Oh, you're welcome. Again, I apologize for holding you a little longer, but this first week is orientation and just trying to get you to, and I bet tonight it's gone longer because learn how to navigate some of this stuff in this that students don't recall. They say, oh yeah, now I got it, now I got it, and it clicks on. And I've had at least two students to tell me already that they appreciated it because there were things that they were lost on and it helped them a little bit. And they say, hey, my professor is they said, so the recording that you have will be of value to you as well in the future. Good night. I will see you next week at 8:30 p.m. And like I said, we'll get out by about 9:30 every week or before. So stay safe. Take care of yourself. I gotta let you know, I believe in taking care of things. I'm 70 years old. I'll be 71 by the time before this course is over. And I want to do a promotion for you. Here it is. I'm gonna lower this down so you can see it. Did you see that? Yep, I got mine. Yeah. Yep, I got. Which one did you get? Did you get the Moderna, the Pfizer, or the Johnson and Johnson? Did you take the shot, or you? Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. They're getting ready to change that. Uh, the president just announced that the 19th of April that they're going to change that so that they'll take those levels off so everybody can get it. And I think that's a great thing. So then, so I don't know if they started announcing that yet up there where you guys are, but it's big news down here in Illinois where I am, and some of my families and friends in other parts of the country. But yeah, so and that's gonna be good. So yeah, I got my first shot March 14th, and then I scheduled for my second one the 11th, which is this Sunday. So I felt pretty good after the first one. I had a little soreness, but I would take the soreness over some of the things I've seen that's happened. All those over 500, almost 600,000 people, um, and all of us know somebody, you know, who have my daughter right now and her husband are just coming out of it, and they're down in Georgia. Um, they got it from someone who went to a funeral who came to visit them. But it's dangerous, man. It's really, really, really dangerous. So you have to be careful. Take care of yourself. That's one of the things I say. I'm not political when I talk about things like that. I'm I'm health conscious. And like I said again, people are shocked. You wouldn't guess I was 70 years old, would you? I get carded for the senior citizen discount. When I ask for it, they says, "What are you trying to pull?" And I show them my ARP card, and then I show them my driver's license. And they say, "Oh my God, you're older than my mother and father." In fact, there are a lot of people now I'm running into that my oldest daughter is 50, so and my youngest one, the one I showed you earlier, she's 12. She'll be 13. She said, "Dad, I am not 12. I'll be 13 April 15th." I said, "Okay, Jillian." But so I'm doing good, and that's because I take care of my health, and I don't mind saying it. I heard a person one time says, "Well, sometimes people should keep their opinions to themselves." I said, "That's not opinion. This is fact. It's a fact that I am how I am because of good health, taking care of it. All right. So anyway, that's my soapbox for the night. Thank you for listening to that. But yeah, be on the lookout for that news that I think it's April 19th that everyone is going to be able to get the shot uh, above, I think 16 or something like that. Something like that. So, all right, I'll see you next week. And enjoy your week. Stay safe. And then, of course, if you need me, you know how to reach me. All right, I'll see you. Take care.